Well, Jeff, I want to tee you up the right way, man. I've heard you speak a couple of times now, and man, every time I feel like I get so much that I just want to get it and give it. But I want to tee you up today. I'm a firm believer, and by the way, we're a for-profit business, and this is a call. We've got a ton of people that are business owners, they're entrepreneurs in their own right, and I believe that a person's bank account is a direct reflection of their mindset. And their mindset determines their identity and how they view themselves and how the world views them. And so a lot of people on this call, they're figuring that out. They're figuring out what their identity is. And I really wanted you today to dive into that topic. What is the mindset of a top performer? How can we manipulate that internally so that we receive the fruit and benefit of that externally? So, dude, I'm going to get out of your way and let you go. But, brother, I love you, and I'm going to be taking a lot of good notes here.
Everybody who's actually locking in on here, I want you to know that I am absolutely fired up to be able to be here. Before I show my screen, I want you guys to know something about identity. Before I get up there, how Joe was able to share it. Big love to my brother Paul, who connected me with Joe and that game. My man, I see you as well. But I want you to know this before. This is not a situation where it's just about motivation. And you'll find out about why this is different between motivation and what this is. Some of us, if we're looking to get to that next space in our life, in the next moment of our life, it's not just enough to get motivation. You can go on IG, your Instagreasy, you can go on X, you can go on Snap, you can go on TikTok, wherever you want to, you can get motivation. My desire in these next 25 minutes is to give you something that will completely transform your life. Now, something that I tell everybody, what I'm about to teach you is not something I got from Chat GPT. It's not something that I got from the latest guru. It's not something that just sounds sexy as I'm talking on here. This is something that I had to live myself. So before you heard all the accolades and the honor that I get to be able to coach sports teams, athletes, some incredible companies. My wife and I own a multi-million-dollar donut franchise that we're scaling. It's incredible. Some of the guys that were here were able to try some of that. It's incredible. There's 0 calories once you work them off and walk them off. They turn into carrots when you eat them. It's incredible what God does with them. But regardless of all of those things, before I was this guy, before I was traveling the world, before I was coaching, I need you to know something. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. I'll pull this up to the camera and let me know if you can see this. This picture right here was my mugshot at 18 years old. At 18 years old, I was a top-ranked wide receiver here in Southern California. At 18 years old, I found myself facing 16 years to life for 6 armed robberies and attempted murder. Not because I walked around being a felon, but because I didn't have my identity in check. It was because I was trying to find validation from everybody else around me who looked like they had it. Why did that matter to me? It mattered to me because I grew up homeless. I grew up sleeping in the back of a car. When we had money, I slept on the floor of motels. I watched my parents pretend like they weren't hungry so that we could eat. I listened to my dad cry himself to sleep, watching all of his 4 kids sleeping on the floor. So when I talk about this idea of identity sent me to Chino State Prison on a level 4 prison yard when my cellie was 21 years old with 7 life sentences. I lost every single scholarship I had. They told me I would never get out. I would never become anything. And so while I was in prison, at Chino State Prison, as I fought my case with the race riot, some of the biggest in Los Angeles County, I got scars on my neck with gang members trying to cut my neck open with razor blades. Everything that I'm about to teach you is what I learned in a situation that wasn't ideal. Now, I don't know where you are, how you're building in your life, or how big your business is, or whether you're just starting, or whether you're in the worst part of the worst moment of your mental capacity. I'm going to tell you this. If you tap into what I'm about to teach you, whether you're making 10K, 40K, you're submitting 120K, doesn't matter where you are, or you're trying to get your first deal, your first policy that you're trying to close. Your identity means everything. Because even though I was in a prison, there's so many of us who live in the prison of people pleasing. We live in the prison of us being afraid to authentically be who we are, lead how we want to lead, build the life we want to lead, because I'm worried about what my mom's going to think, my dad's going to think, my friend's going to think, my homegirl's going to think, my entire community. What are they going to think if I actually unapologetically live who I am, build how I want to build? What is my team going to think? If I end up saying to myself, I'm no longer going to live in the prison of people pleasing and worrying about other people and who they say I'm going to be, but I'm going to authentically live in the alignment of my assignment. Did you hear what I just said? That was worth your phone bill right now that you use to get on this call, your Wi-Fi bill. I got to live in alignment with my assignment. I want you to type that down in there. I've got to live in the alignment of my assignment. Before 2026 hits, you need to know I got to live in alignment with my assignment. That better be your mantra. Some of y'all, if you like tattoos, I'm tatted all over. You got to be able to have that etched in your heart that I am no longer living small, but I'm going to live in the alignment of my assignment. And so what I did after 16 years of life of being in prison, I decided while I was in prison that I was going to use every ounce of my mind to become the person that I dreamed of being. I was in my prison cell locked down 24 hours a day. I was in solitary confinement for 3 months in pitch darkness, eating with my hands. So when it talks about identity, building your identity and becoming that man or that woman that you desire to be, doesn't have to come from you being in the ideal circumstance. It comes from you making a decision that I'm going to be great no matter where I'm at. It comes with you being a person that's saying, listen, I understand that I may be in situations that are not favorable, but once I make a decision to be who I am, I'm going to lock in. And so as we get into this place, what I want to talk to you about is the identity of a high performer. And I'm going to see if I can, Joe or somebody, if I can share my screen, I'm going to go ahead and try to do that right now. Beautiful. Now watch this. We're going to tap into it as we dive into this. So here's what I want to talk to you guys about. I want to talk to you about unleashing your high performance identity. I want to talk to you about unleashing your high performance identity. The first thing that I need you to understand is when I'm going to build a high performance identity, I got to understand that it's always decision over motivation. Write this down, take a screenshot. It is always decision over motivation. Here's why this is important. Average people wait to feel ready. But top producers make decisions and then become the person who can fulfill them. Listen to me. It doesn't matter how many vision boards you have in your house. It doesn't matter how many people around you who have the Lambos or the houses that you want or whatever it is. Average people wait to feel ready. You wake up in the morning, oh, I don't feel like it, or I do feel like it. Oh, I feel motivated, or I don't feel motivated. But if I'm going to be a top performer, a top producer, I got to understand that my life is always decision over motivation. Now, I need you to understand what the word decision means. The word decision comes from the word decide. D means to separate or to cut away. And so when we say that I'm making a decision, what I'm doing is I'm cutting away everything else that is in alignment with the decision that I just made. Did you hear what I just said? When you choose to decide, that means there's no other options for you to be anything else other than who you say you're going to be. When you choose to decide, that means that everything else that used to be on the table is no longer on the table. When you decide to be somebody that is great, when you decide to be somebody that is going to hit a new level, when you decide to be that man of faith, that woman of faith, when you decide to be that incredible husband or that incredible wife or incredible father or an incredible mother or incredible leader or incredible friend or leader in your life, I need you to understand that you have made a decision to cut away everything else that doesn't match what that is. While average people wake up, they wait to feel ready. And some of us are not hitting the marks where we want because we don't feel like it. I don't feel like being that person today. I don't feel like going up there. Listen to me, and I want you to write this down. As sure as I'm chocolate, I need y'all to understand this. Remember this. You are never what you feel. You are what you decide. Did you hear what I just said? You are never what you feel. You are always what you decide. That's why top producers make decisions, watch this, and then become the person who can fulfill them. It's not just enough for you to say, man, okay, I'm deciding to be great. I'm deciding to hit that 120K. I need that suit. I need those red bottoms. I need that bag, whatever it may be. It's not just enough for you to decide. Here's where some of us get hung up. We have not decided and asked ourselves, who do I need to become to be able to fulfill that goal? So if you hit 10K, fantastic. 10K is great. You hit 20K, you hit 40K in submissions, fantastic. But who you were that got you to 10K cannot be the same person that gets you to that 120K. So you need to sit down with yourself and say, this was great. I celebrate that win, but who do I need to become so I can be the person that can fulfill the dream in my life? Some of us need to understand these three major things. Number one, motivation fluctuates. If you've ever been to a national event, if you've ever been on this phone call, some of y'all will be so motivated. After you get off this phone call, you'll be motivated for about all of 30 minutes and then life will hit. But if you have not made a decision that my mindset is going to be locked on, that this is my end goal, that I'm going to reach more people, I'm going to build my team, I'm going to close more policies than I've ever closed. If you've not made a decision, motivation isn't enough because motivation fluctuates. And when motivation fluctuates, you will watch all of your performance begin to fluctuate because there are moments in the days where you're not going to be motivated. But here's what I need you to understand, that decisions create your identity. I'm going to say it again and I'm going to stand up so you get this. Your decisions create your identity. I went to prison because the decisions of who I wanted to be, the decisions that I made to hang out with people who gave me any validation or any type of meaning or any type of things, those decisions that I made my identity that locked me into somebody who was a criminal. Who have you associated with? And what decisions are you living in that has created your identity? Some of you have made the decision that, man, I'm here in this business and it's good and I can always do 10K a month. And you've decided that you're going to live at that 10K level. Some of you have decided, man, I'm always messing up in life. And when I get a relationship, I'm always finding the wrong ones. And so now you've decided that your decision is you're just going to be by yourself. You're going to be lonely. And that decision creates your identity that I'm just a loner in life, that nobody wants me. That's the identity that you carry. If you miss a mark in your business and you say you're going to hit a goal and you are living off of your feelings and your emotions and you make a decision that says that I am not good enough to hit that mark, guess what your identity is going to be? Somebody who never hits their mark when you get so close. Or maybe you've decided that you're going to live in self-sabotage. That means every time I'm about to level up at the end of the month, something always happens. So guess what your mind does? It gets into alignment with the decision that you have made. And now that becomes your identity. For me to be able to break out of prison, I had to recognize that I made a decision to hang out with people that led me to that lifestyle. And so if a decision got me into it, hear what I'm about to tell you, your decision is going to get you out of it. So what decisions do you need to make right now in your office? What decisions do you need to make to be able to cut something out, decide to actually decide means to cut away all of the things around you, all of the things that you said would become your identity, and to decide something new right now? What is it that you're going to choose to decide? Because your decisions create your identity. The third thing that I need you to get into in your spirit, I need you to get it in your mind, is that identity dictates behavior even when emotions fail. Identity dictates your behavior even when emotions fail. In other words, when I decide that I am a man and a woman that hits their goals, when I decide that I am a high performer, my identity will dictate my behavior even when my emotions are gone. So if I decide that I am a high performer, a high caliber person, watch this, my identity won't let me do anything that is contrary to who I say I'm going to be. My identity of who I decided to be will not allow my behavior, my way of being, to become something different, even though my emotions may bail. Hear me, there were moments in my life when I got out. And when I got out, I was on government assistance. I was digging through trash cans to try to take care of my son and my daughter and using t-shirts for diapers. There were moments where my emotions failed. But my decision to be a man that was going to impact lives, my decision to say I'm committed to my future, was the decision that allowed me to stay the course of actions and behave like I was a world capacity, a worldwide leader, even when my emotions felt like I was a failure. And some of you are in the space where you are so close to hitting the greatest life, the greatest relationships, the greatest spiritual breakthroughs in your life. But because you have not identified who you are going to be, your behaviors are being ran by your emotions. So you're up and down because emotions are up and down. But when I have my identity locked, my identity determines my way of being and my behavior, even when I don't feel like it. If this is hitting y'all, I need y'all to give some thumbs up, give some fire emojis, and let people know you locked in. Here's what I need you to understand what I'm simply saying. Some of you don't need more motivation. You need to stop negotiating with the version of you that was never called to lead. That's an Insta-greasy quote. That's a tweetable or on X. You better put it down on your paper. Some of you don't need more motivation. You are motivated out of the game. What you need is to stop negotiating with the version of you that was never called to lead. Who are you negotiating? What small thinking, identity in your life are you negotiating with? And that version of you was never called to lead. That version of you was never called to hit the 120K. The version that you're negotiating with is a version that says, you know what, at least I made $1,000 and I was only making, $200 a week and I made $1,000 a week. So, at least my life is a little bit better. This is not the you that was created to do great things. I believe that God put greatness inside of every last one of us, whether we want to recognize it or not. But the difference is whether you believe in God, regardless of where you are, you're negotiating with the lower version of yourself is the reason why you're stuck. So today, right now in this moment, I need you to make a decision that you are no longer going to negotiate or make a deal with the version of you that was never created to lead. Stop negotiating your schedules, your skill sets with somebody that is never called to be at the level of where you are. Because if you continually negotiate with the lower level of you, the lower level of you will never allow you to become the highest version of yourself. And here's the greatest thing. I'm talking about identity. And the problem is most of us are negotiating because we're not living from our real identity. Hear this. My coach told me this. You're living with a lie identity. You hear what I just said? That was good with like 15 O's. You're not living in your identity. You're living in your lie identity. In other words, it is the lie that you have decided to live in when it comes to business, when it comes to relationships, when it comes to your spiritual walk, when it comes to success. It is the lie identity that you've chosen to live with. That says you can't hit this mark, that says that you're a toxic leader, that says you can't hit no more than the mark that you got, or that was the best one that you've ever done, so you should just settle. You live with the lie identity that people put on you, that you are selfish for trying to get more money. Let me help y'all out right now. Anybody who's spiritual, anybody who's in this place, let me tell you something. When it comes to making wealth and generating more money, it is an honorable and noble thing to say, I want to make more money. Because you want to know what you're saying? You're saying, I want to serve more people at a higher level. When you say you want to become the biggest earner, what you just simply said is exactly what the company stands for. It's people over product. When you're closing 120K, what you've said to everybody else is, I prioritize people over product. And hear me when I say this. If you are living with the identity that money is wrong, money and money is not the root of all evil. The love of money is the root of all evil. So if you love money more than you love your values, it's the root of all evil. If you love money more than you love your character, it's the root of all evil. But money has the ability to change and transform lives. You get paid here in Pinnacle because you made a decision to help somebody close out something with a life insurance policy that they didn't know they need. I know life insurance matters because I lost my brother 3 years ago. And right before that, I lost my sister-in-law 3 years before that. And my parents were smart enough to tell her, you need to get a life insurance policy. And when she passed away at 32 years old, I watched my brother have a policy that was in place to take care of his children because she didn't have a lot. It was $150,000, but that $150,000 meant everything to that family. And so when you say you want to make money, when you say you want to build a successful company, I need you to understand what you're simply saying is that I want to serve people on a high level. So, Coach Jeff, what are you trying to say? I need you to know that your job is to become. Hear what the word is. The word is become. In other words, the word is not come be, the word is become. Most of us live our lives like the word says, come be. When the numbers come, when the houses come, when the cars come, when the accolades come, then I can be that man and woman who is a success. Then I can be that high producer. Let me help you out. High producing doesn't happen when things come. The word is not come be, the word is become. Today, you need to ask yourself, who do I need to be so that that thing that that person's supposed to have will come into my life? What way of being do I have to be when I show up every day in the office? When I get on the phone calls, when I make the decisions that I'm going to make, when I decide to put my schedule together, who do I need to be right now so that the things that I'm supposed to have will come? Stop waiting for the things to come so you can say that I can be a success. So you can say that I can be a high producer. High producing starts in your mindset. It starts with you understanding that this is who I am. I am a high producer and I'm just waiting for my results to show. So I need you to understand that you have to become. The second thing that I need you to understand is that it's consistency over intensity. It's consistency over intensity. Top performers don't spike, they stack. Did you hear what I just said? Top performers don't spike, they stack. While most agents work hard occasionally, top producers work systematically. I need you to understand that there are so many who are going to get into this. And if you're young and you're in this space, let me tell you something. I'm knocking on the door of 40. And here's what I've watched in my years of being in this industry, of coaching some of the biggest companies and people. You get top performers who just spike up and they're doing great and they closing deals and they're good 1 month and then the next month they tank. Or you watch people who come out the gate and they're crushing it, and then all of a sudden to find out that 3 months later they crashed it, or they crushed, or they had to leave to go to another company. And what they don't understand is most of those agents, when they get a big month, you get a 10K month, you've made more money than you've ever made. Here's what we do: we take our foot off the gas. And when we take our foot off the gas, we coast long enough for us to get through and we're feeling good. But when you take your foot off the gas, you start with speed and eventually you start slowing down. So that you got to rush to go get more policies, and you got to rush to try to figure it out because you've decided to take your foot off the gas. But if I'm a top performer, I'm not worried about spiking and going through. I'm stacking with compound movements every day and I'm working systematically. Because when I move systematically, I understand that it's consistency over intensity. Let me help you out. I'm going to take you back to the childhood fable in your life, the tortoise and the hare. The story of the tortoise and the hare, everybody thinks the idea of the tortoise and the hare is just slow and steady wins the race. That's not true. Let me tell you why the tortoise won and the hare lost. Because when the hare started off, he started off with speed. He started to spike. Then all of a sudden, he decided to say, you know what? I'm so far ahead right now. Let me take a nap. So he fell asleep. And he decided that he had gone so far that he can rest, he could take his foot off the gas. And the tortoise, it wasn't that it was slow and steady that won the race. It was that he said, I'm going to consistently keep making the steps that are needed for me to get closer to my finish line. And when he stayed consistent, he passed the person who spiked out the gate, and then all of a sudden they nap it. There are people in this industry, hear me, who are napping at the opportunity that Pinnacle created. They hit a level, they hit these marks, they built a company, they think they're good. And sometimes you guys will look at yourself and feel like you are behind the 8 ball. Let me help you out. Let your coach be able to speak into your mind on this call for this day. Let me be your coach. Consistency wins over intensity any day of the week. Have you ever seen somebody who's been in this industry, somebody in any industry in life, you hear him as a motivational speaker, and you're like, oh my God, this person is terrible. They're trash. How did they get this good? How did they get this opportunity? How are they killing it? I've got more talent. I've got more ability than them. Here's what I need you to understand. that the name of the game is success. And I'm watching it now after 20 years of speaking into companies and coaches. When I started off and nobody wanted to hear me, and I was speaking to empty rooms, and I was speaking for $50 and a bucket of fried chicken. True story. Now, I ate the chicken, but I needed that $50 for my gas. But when I was in those moments, everybody wanted me to quit. People said I should quit because I didn't spike. And I'm watching people leave me left and right. And they're hitting marks left and right. And as I looked at them left and right, I realized if I just stay consistent and I work my system and I make sure that I'm the best that I am, here's what I realized: that consistency compounds trust. I've got companies hitting me up that says, Jeff, I've been watching you for 10 years now. And your consistency allows me to know that you're trustworthy. There may be people in your life who you want to give policies. There may be big whales that you want to bring to your team. And they may tell you no right now because they're watching to see if you are consistent in what you say you're going to do. Or is this just another fad that you're in right now? Consistency compounds trust. So if you close the deal and you wrote up a policy for somebody, and after you wrote that policy up for that person, you close the deal, you're getting the override, you're good. How often are you consistently hitting them up every quarter just to check up on their life, to see how their family's doing, and not talk about, hey, I got this new policy. Hey, we got this new deal. What are you doing to consistently reach out? Why? Because the consistency of follow through with the relationship will compound into trust to where they may say, you know what? I've got somebody who I want to connect you with. You've been so consistent. You've been so patient with me. You've been calling in and checking on me. So I know that I'm not just another dollar sign on your list of you hitting your mark. Here's the person that I want. And it becomes the largest policy that you ever close. Why? Because consistency compounds trust. Referrals. There it is again, and confidence. Hear me. Some of you, when it comes to confidence, you are not confident in your ability to do great things because you break the promises you make to yourself every single day. Hear me when I'm about to say this. This is gonna help you. I coach more people who say, man, I know I got to step out. I got to go for these more people. I got to go to this next level. I got to be able to commit to this or commit to that. But I just got this fear like I'm not good enough. Like I don't have what it takes. I'm going to tell you why. The reason why you don't trust yourself is because you break your promise to yourself. You say you're going to go to the gym and you say, I'm going to go at 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock goes, you hit your snooze button, you lie to yourself, and immediately you tell yourself that I can't follow through with what I say. You say you're going to hit 10 phone calls or 20 phone calls or 100 phone calls, and you don't hit those phone calls and you give yourself an excuse. Guess what you just told yourself? It's okay for me to break my promise to myself, which sets it in stone that you can't trust yourself to do what you say you're going to do. But consistently waking up and consistently making those phone calls and consistently getting on these calls and consistently showing up to your regionals and consistently plugging into the system at Pinnacle and consistently you bidding at all of the national events, you consistently being around your team and building yourself up and consistently reading these books are going to build the confidence that you need to be able to trust yourself that when I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. So the top performers don't spike, they stack. What do you need to stack today? Because it's always consistency over intensity. Here's what I need you to understand. Consistency turns ordinary effort into unstoppable identity. Did you hear what I just said? Consistency turns ordinary effort into unstoppable identity. You want to have an unstoppable identity? Show up for yourself when you say you're going to show up for yourself. That will build so much confidence that you can close the deal, that you can help somebody out, that you can bring somebody to the greatest moment of their life where they don't even think about life insurance or they're not thinking about the policy or their future. But the consistency that says, because I show up for myself, I know I can show up for my clients. Because I show up for myself, I can show up for my team. Some of you are struggling with your team because you are not consistently showing up for yourself. Hear me. Before you can be a CEO of your own company, you got to be a CEO over your own life. Before you can go and try to lead a whole entire team and be the CEO of your office or be that person, before you can be the office manager and freaking crush it, you got to be able to manage yourself and manage your consistency so that you not just become a regular person, but you are somebody who has an unstoppable identity. Here's what the action frame is for. Here's what consistency is. Consistency is your identity plus your habits plus your non-negotiables. That's what consistency is. That is the ultimate equation. In order for you to be consistent in your life, here it is. You got to lock in on your identity of who you say you're going to be. That's you making sure that you decide who you're going to be as a man or a woman. I'm going to be a man of integrity. I'm going to be a woman of integrity. I'm going to be a man of excellence. I'm going to be a woman of excellence. Your consistency is your identity plus your habits. So what are the habits that you're living with? Watch this, that aren't matching the lower version of you. What are the habits that match the high version of you? What are the habits that match the high version of who you're supposed to be? Those habits are rooted in non-negotiables. Non-negotiables are the things in your life that set you apart from everybody else. I am choosing to be in the best shape of my life by the time I hit 40. Now, I live probably in Southern California, about an hour and a half away from Paul. Now, Paul makes me sick because he runs like 50,000 miles before 4 o'clock in the morning. And then he picks up the phone like, hey, what's up, bro? How you doing, bro? He gets me so upset. But him being in the place where he has made a non-negotiable that I'm going to be in the best shape of my life. There is a non-negotiable that says I'm going to take care of my body because health is wealth. In other words, some of you are in a place where you won't even be healthy enough to be able to generate the wealth that you want. If you are going to fly all over the world, if you're going to be somebody that's going to close deals, a non-negotiable needs to be health in your life. So your identity plus your habits plus your non-negotiables is what builds consistency. If you have an identity that says I can break my word to myself, and your habits are low habits, and you have negotiables, I'm telling you right now, I can promise you that you're inconsistent in every area of your life. So coach, help us out right now. Help us out. What are some non-negotiables for us? I'm so glad you asked. And I got one more point. I'm going to wrap it up. Let me know if this is helping y'all. Let me know if y'all still rocking with your board. Okay, so check this out. Here's non-negotiables of a top performer. The first thing you got to be able to do is you got to prospect daily. Hear me. Don't hunt when you feel like it. Hunt because it's who you are. Don't hunt because you feel like it. Hunt because it's who you are. A lion doesn't wake up and say, I don't feel like being a lion today, so I'm just not going to hunt. No. They hunt because it's who they are. They're a predator. And so they go. So when you hunt, when you prospect, when you're on that phone or when you're talking to somebody, don't hunt when you feel like it. Hunt because it's who you are. If your pipeline depends on your mood, watch this, circle this, take a picture of it. Your income will too. If your pipeline depends on your mood, when you feel like calling, whether you don't feel like calling, do I feel like being great? Do I not feel like being great? If your pipeline depends on your mood, your income will too. The next thing I need you to understand is that you got to follow up relentlessly. Circle that word. When you write a picture down, whatever it is, you have to follow up relentlessly. In other words, you got to stay in front of clients until they buy, die, or block you. Do you hear what I just say? You got to be so relentless that you got to stay in front of your clients until they buy, that they going to die, or they going to block your phone call. Here's why. Because you believe that the product you have can change their life. Now, I coach all of these people all over the world. And one thing that I am unashamed of is my love for Jesus. Unapologetic. I've been in the world. I've run the streets. I've lost everything. I made everything. I've watched people make $3 billion in their company who I coach and have a $30,000 a month alcohol habit. I unashamedly tie in the principles of the Bible because I know it works. And anybody who doesn't want to hear it, they're going to have to they're going to have to block me from them hearing me when they ask me, what is the source of my success? It's God. God gave me everything I had. And so when it comes to your follow-up, you got to follow up and be relentless. Why? Because you believe that the product you have can change somebody's life. Do you believe that the insurance and what you offer in Pinnacle can change your life? You better stay in front of that client until they buy, die, or block you. You better write that down on your whiteboard. Buy, die, or block. That's the only way you're not going to hear what I have to say. Here's why. Because most deals aren't lost to competition. They're lost to your calendar. They're not lost to competition. They're lost to your calendar. In other words, you have not scheduled in your calendar how you're going to be successful. So you're not losing the deals because of competition. You're losing the deals because you have not made a decision to put it on your calendar, to fill your calendar up with calls, to make sure that everything around your life is encompassed by the goals that you're setting to be great in what you do. The next thing that you need to do is you need to master your product and your objections. You got to know your policies. You got to know your benefits and the scripts better than you know your excuses. Hello, somebody. If you hear I'm going to take you to church, put an amen inside of there. If you got a team that be using excuses and they know their excuses more than they know the policies, benefits, and the scripts on how you can become the greatest person in this industry for yourself. You got to master your product and your objections. You got to know your policies. What are you offering? You got to know the benefits and your scripts better than you know your excuses. This is where you become a non-negotiable a non-negotiating top performer right here. You got to master your product and your objections. Well, what about this? Well, this is why we have this. And no, I don't want to think about this. And this is how we have this. Are you mastering your product and the objections that they would use as a top performer? Remember this, people don't buy insurance, they buy the confidence of the person explaining it. If you don't have the confidence in the product that you offer, you will lose more deals, not because you're not capable, but because you're not confident. You will lose more deals, not because you're not capable, but because you're not confident. You will have to walk in that room like you know God sent you in that room. You got to walk in that room like you're a godsend. You got to walk in that room like you know that what you have is the best. You got to get on that phone, not with this timidity, like, well, I was wondering if you wanted to, maybe just possibly, maybe get a policy. And if you coming in like that, I don't want nothing you're selling. Hear me. Your energy speaks for you before you even open your mouth. The energy that you have when you get on that phone call, the energy you have when you walk into your team, the energy you have when you have your lead meeting, the energy you have speaks for you before you even walk into the room. So what is your energy saying? Because people don't buy insurance, they buy the confidence of the person explaining it. Are you confident that you have the best product that's going to help their life? That needs to be a non-negotiable. By you mastering your products and your objection, you're going to build the confidence. Hear me. Confidence comes from competence. Confidence comes from competence. You got to have the competency to know your product, and that's what builds confidence. You don't know what you're talking about, you're not going to have confidence in it. And some of you lack confidence because you're not competent in what you're talking about. I was on a 3-hour car ride with Paul on the way to the mountains of Colorado with some other high capacity leaders. And I was trying to learn a little bit more about the insurance industry and why is it important. And this man started sharing with me why and the model behind Pinnacle and how it's people over product. And he's sharing this. He was so confident. My man had me in tears, ready to sign up for another 3 policies. And I already got multiple policies because he was so confident that allowed me to realize that I could trust the man who's speaking. You can trust the woman who you are when you're confident in what you are. People will trust you because if they're not buying insurance, they're buying the confidence of the person who explained it. But here's the last thing, that you got to act like your name is on the building. Ownership isn't a title, it's an attitude. Hear me. Ownership is about a title. It's an attitude. You have to take ownership of your business like your name is on the building Pinnacle. Like you are the owner, the founder of Pinnacle. You better have that much ownership in your business. Not because it's a title, but it's an attitude. That I am owning what I'm building. I'm owning the team that's around me. Because I'm owning it, I'm not going to carry it and treat it like somebody who doesn't own it. You already know the difference. There's a difference between somebody who owns a house, somebody who is just visiting the house. When I'm an owner, it should bother me when stuff is out of alignment in my house. If you are taking ownership of your business, if your team is in an alignment, it should bother you when you should make a decision to say, we're going to get into alignment with our assignment. Why? Because I'm acting like my name is on the building. Are you just renting your dream, or are you owning your dream like your name is on that building? Are you owning the space of your greatness, or are you a squatter in your space? And if you don't know what a squatter is somebody who unlawfully takes over a house that's empty, and they know it's just a matter of time before somebody else actually discovers that they really don't belong and don't own the house. Is that you and your business? Do you treat your business like an owner or a squatter? An owner acts like their name is on the building. A squatter acts like any moment somebody's going to point them out of being a fraud. Some of us deal with imposter syndrome because we haven't taken ownership of our business and our space of greatness. So you got to act like your name is on the building. Here's what I need you to know as I come to a close. A paycheck will reward your activity, but legacy rewards identity. Everybody that's on this call right now, you are called to live with a legacy of greatness. A legacy that it doesn't matter what you do, you're going to perform high. A paycheck will reward your activity. But if you want to leave a legacy in this building, you want to leave a legacy in your family, you want to leave a legacy financially, you want to leave a legacy at Pinnacle, legacy rewards your identity, not just your activity, because there's a lot of people who are very active doing nothing. But if you know your identity and who you're called to be in this life, your legacy will reward your identity. And as a result of that, you are going to become somebody who is a high capacity top performer, not just in Pinnacle, but in every area of your life. I appreciate you guys. This is my Instagram, so you guys can tap in with me. This is my social media, so you can tap in with me. I'm done. And you guys can take over from the team.
Jeff, my goodness, dude. I've got goosebumps and tons of notes. That's exactly what we needed. My phone has been blowing up by people telling me how much of a help this has been. Hit that stop share button for me, Jeff. There we go.
You got it, brother.
Dude, unbelievable. Is this like a teaser of what we can expect in February at Summit?
Oh, you already know. Like, I'm coming all gloves off. I'm rocking with you guys for 2 days. And so I can't wait to be able to be with you guys for the time that's there, to be able to be on this call. It's an honor to be able to be here, Joe. We building together. It's just the beginning, baby.
Jeff, I love you, man. I appreciate you so much. Do me a favor, bro. Bring some of those donuts to Orlando.
Yeah.
You think they'll travel?
I got you, big dog. I'm gonna bring them all.
Let's go, baby. Let's go. Jeff, I know you got somewhere else to be for now. I'll see you in a little bit. Guys, stay on for a second. I'm going to wrap up. Jeff.
Appreciate you guys.
Appreciate you. Guys, check this out. I'm going to tell you a little bit about who Jeff is. He jumped off the call. Speakers like Jeff, I don't know if you guys know, they show up to an event. They typically speak for an hour. They get a very, very nice speaker fee to speak for an hour. And when I reached out to Jeff, I was like, Jeff, we've got this event coming up. I need to have you there. And he actually had another engagement during that time. And he was like, dude, I've gotten to know you a little bit. I've known Paul for a long time. I'm gonna move my other engagement so I could be there. We sent him over his speaker fee, and he called Carmen the next day, and he said, hey, Carmen, get me with Joe. He said, I want to be there the entire time. He's like, and I want to be a resource the entire 2 days. He's like, so I want to get to know a lot of the agents, build some connections, and just provide as much value and serve the people any way that I can. That's who Jeff Osborne is. He's going to be at the event for the entire event. I hope you guys are very excited. That is a small portion of some of the value that you're going to get at our National Summit coming up February 4th through the 6th in Orlando. If you guys have not registered and bought your ticket to be there, would you do it today? The early bird pricing runs through December, and the ticket prices go up. I want as many people to be there as possible. I'm telling y'all, between the main stage, some of the split sessions we're doing this year, one of the split sessions is going to be a leadership Q&A. Jeff will be a part of that. This is not an event that you're going to miss. It'll be the best $99 that you've ever spent in your life. You will get multiple millions of dollars of value out of this event. So please be there. I could not have thought of a better way to kick off December than on December 1st, having Jeff breathe the fire that he just did. I hope that got you guys thinking. Hope that spurred some decision making. I love how Jeff started it. Motivation, man, it's temporary, it's fleeting, and it's emotional. But when you make decisions, man, and you have non-negotiables and you build the right habits, what you're doing is you're building a moat around your dreams and your legacy. That's what you just heard. You heard exactly how to do that. So, guys, I appreciate you so much. This call went a little bit longer than normal, but for good reason. Let's have an amazing start to this month. Let's have a PR week all around. Set your goals. They should scare you. Let's go to work. Let's get better. Let's serve as many people as we can. I'll talk to you guys very soon. Have a great, great Monday.